All right, guys, this is Robert from the band Adept, and you're watching Richard Metal Fan.
Hey, what's up, guys? Episode 352 of Richard Metal Fan interviews calling from Zoom. And I'm here with Robert, the lead singer of Sweden's own Adept. So, how are you doing today, Robert? It's so great to be able to have you on.
Oh, thanks, man. Really good to be here, man. Looking forward to talk to you.
Oh, yeah. So, kind of the format of the show is I want to talk about like your musical history and sort of do a deep dive into the discography, as well as talk about the upcoming album Blood Covenant. But take me back to young Robert. So, growing up in Sweden, what were the first bands that got you into metal and what made you want to be a vocalist?
I mean, the Swedish music scene has been, so full of great bands. I personally grew up with bands like Refused, Raise Fist, 59 Times the Pain. So I was more towards the hardcore scene than the metal scene. Of course, there's some great bands, with Soilwork, In Flames. So many great metal bands, but I always were more towards the hardcore scene. So yeah, when I saw Raised Fist live, I can't even remember how young I must have been, but I remember I really wanted to play in one of those like high energy kind of live bands. So that's what drove me towards heavier music.
Awesome. And then tell me about like forming Adept because the band formed in 2004, so almost 20 years, over 20 years of the band. Like, did you think that you guys would be around for 20 years?
No, man, that's yeah, it's so weird that it's been 21 years since we started the band. I think we all grew up in a really small town outside of Stockholm. So it's like an hour outside of, the capital in Sweden. So not much to do. It's always dark. There's no like really places for teenagers to hang out on. So, it was either, skateboarding or trying to play music or just drinking beer in the woods. So I think that started the attraction to do something else and just drink beer in woods. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But what would be like a bucket list for goal for Adept? Like, because you've been around for so long, like, would it be like that thing would be like, man, wouldn't it be awesome if we did that?
Oh, there's so many. Of course, there's so many. We've never done a US tour. We have had so many opportunities and offers, but it's like I don't know. We had this management who always looked like if you do this, you will get more money, or if in his opinion he would get more money because we're not that well known in the States. So he thought that if we will do that, it will make less money for him. So we were like caught in that kind of cycle where we listened too much to that old management and never really did what we wanted to do. So now with this management we have now and with this new record, I really hope that we can do that full US tour that we never. We played a show in New York. That's the only show we've done.
Oh, so you have been to the US briefly. I thought y'all never played there at all.
Yeah, we did like 2016. We did a show with Blindside. So there was like a Swedish
Yeah.
package night in
Yeah.
New York. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've been telling like my friends about you guys and like a lot of people don't even know you guys, which is a damn shame because I feel like you guys are one of the most underrated metalcore bands.
Oh, dude, thank you so much, man. Yeah, I mean, it was great to playing in New York, even though we were, supporting band for Blindside, and we knew that a lot of people there didn't know about us. But there's like such a great atmosphere just to play there, and we could feel like, oh, we really belong here. We want to play more in the States because the audience was great. It was like one of those kind of clubs. I don't really remember the name of the venue, um, but it was like one of those typical adept places we would love to play. It's like a bar inside of the venue, not too big, not too fancy,
Yeah,
where
just
you do
very
the best.
DIY.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love those kind of places. Yeah.
Yeah, but tell me about like some of those like early Adept demos being Hopeless Illusions and When the Sun Gave in the Sky. I thought those were very raw sounding. Like, where were those recorded at?
I don't even know, man. Where did we record those? I think we record those demos at the same place as we recorded Another Year of Disaster, which is our first album, full album. And that producer, Eric Heiden, he plays in a band called Kid Down. They were kind of popular skate punk band, but he wasn't that familiar with producing. So we were one of the earliest bands that he started to produce. And I just remembered we really looked up to bands like Let Live, Glassjaw, like those kind of high pitch, hysterical kind of voices those bands has. So we're trying to use that kind of expression on those early demos.
Yeah, and I feel like you were sort of trying to find what the sort of the adept sound was during that time.
Definitely, even though it's kind of funny to listen to those because you can still find some places where there are spoken words, where there are like melodic build-ups. Of course, long songs. We never really managed to write short songs. They're always like 5 minutes or something. But yeah, it's you can sense that we had a path already made up for us, how we wanted to
Yeah.
present our music. Yeah,
Yeah. Then go into 2006, you did the Rose Will Decay EP, which I thought was a really great EP, which also has like the early version of At Least Give Me My Dreams Back. So tell me about like
yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's where we kind of tried to put a little bit more of, I mean, emotions, if you will, to it. Like I could tend more melodic lyrics. We tried a little bit more of the spoken word parts. I think we kind of defined our music from there on in. Even though we have, it's some albums are heavier than other, and some albums are a little bit more metalcore, while others are considered, I don't know, post-hardcore or whatever. But I think that album, that EP is very important for us as a band, because I think that was one of those first steps into the to shape the sound that we have today.
Yeah. Then I think you started playing locally around like Sweden and stuff, and then you got signed to your first label, Panic and Action Records. So how did they
Yeah.
find Adept?
So yeah, Panic in Action. Oh my God, it needs to take me back. Panic in Action was created by the former owner of Burning Heart. So in Sweden, that is a very big music label. So they had the Hives, they had Raised Fist, they had Refused. I mean, a lot of those bands were on Burning Heart. So Burning Heart ceased to exist, and they started Panic in Action. So for us, it was like a cultural thing. Like we can be a part of this amazing journey, this amazing history. So Eric, who we did produce the first demos, was also part of Panic in Action. So it was like a natural kind of circle. So he produced our album, and we got signed by them. So
Yeah, but then Another Year of Disaster, in my opinion, probably one of the best debut albums in the metalcore scene. So
oh wow, man.
what was sort of like the whole writing and recording process, being it was sort of like the debut full-length Adept album?
I mean, I remember me and former guitarist Jacob. So me and Jacob, I mean, we were still living, at our parents' place. I think at least he did. So we wrote that in his like kid bedroom, while his mom were, outside and trying to make us be quiet. We just wrote that stuff there. We recorded like MIDI sounds. We couldn't really record anything at our home, so we did like everything in MIDI. And yeah, it was like we started screaming into his microphone and made a really really rough demo on that, and just send it to the producer, and like, we want to do something with this. And he was like, I can barely hear what you did, but yeah, looking forward to record it.
Yeah, and I feel like every song on that album has like a different vibe. Like At Least Giving My Dreams Back is different from a song like Sound the Alarm, and I feel like every song is
Yeah.
sort of like captures like a different moment of like how you and Philip and everybody at the band was during that time.
I mean, we were how I wouldn't say troublemakers, but we were young. We were like super out there with I mean, everything was about a party. You can hear it on the album. Like it almost smells beer. It was like
Get
what
intoxicated when you listen to it.
almost, man. I mean, we were pretty like popular back then when we released that album. I remember we got pretty popular, and a lot of we were mostly popular by guys who like to drink. So we were we like got to be one of those party bands, I guess.
Yeah. And then when the album first came out, you started like touring outside of like Sweden for the first time. Like what was like the whole touring cycle like for the first record?
Yeah, I mean, we released that album in 2009, and we started the band in 2004. So it was kind of long. It was like 5 years until we released a full album, even though The Rose Will Decay was a pretty popular EP back then, at least in Sweden. But when we released Another Year of Disaster, I remember that we got picked to play Sonisphere Festival, which was Metallica were headlining. So we played main stage that year with Metallica, Slayer, and Mastodon, I think.
Hey,
So
from my home
that
state.
Oh yeah, they are. All right, awesome, man. So we were like, holy shit. I mean, how are we? What we're gonna play in front of Metallica's? audience is going to be like 40, 50,000 people or something, and we barely play live. So that was super nervous. Thought that we would. A funny thing though, we really tried to make a decision if we should use the same intro as Metallica, just to make a pun out of it. But
Yeah, the
we
ecstasy
decided
of
not to.
gold.
Yeah, Ecstasy of Gold. But we decided not to do it because they would probably fucking kill us. But I mean, after that, I think we toured on that album. I think we toured. We supported Under Oath. We supported A Day to Remember. We supported Bring Me the Horizon on European tour. So it was like the biggest bands around in 2009, and we got the opportunity to tour Europe with them. So yeah, it was super special.
Yeah, yeah. What was it like being in like those different countries for the first time? It's like, huh, this is different from Sweden.
It is. I mean, Sweden has amazing, music scene, but it it isn't really. You can't really compare it to like a country like Germany. It's like, I mean, people they live for the music scene. I mean, they stand out there, they drink their beer, they listen to music, and I think they give people a chance. Swedish people can be a little bit judgmental. It can be a little bit, who do they think they are? Like they shouldn't come up here. I think they can. I don't know. It's like one of those mentalities that you can't really stick out, because if you do, then you're the weird kid and nobody likes you. While I mean, in different countries, the weirder you are, the cooler you are. It's almost like you need to be a little strange to get the attention.
Oh
So
yeah.
I loved going out in Europe and see like, oh, people love this. I can I can do whatever I want to. They dig it.
Yeah. And then going into the next album, Death Dealers, I love that album because usually with the debut album, you have like your entire life to write, and there's a lot of hype with the first album. When it came to making Death Dealers, did you felt like pressure to follow up another year of disaster?
Yeah, definitely. Because we got, I mean, it's hard to explain because we didn't get that popular in the States, but we got pretty big in Sweden, at least in Scandinavia, some parts of Europe. So we felt like, okay, we can either make a very mainstream path on this, because we already have the audience, we have the media, we have the papers, the music papers that wrote about us. We played the main stage, big festivals around Scandinavia, so we could have taken the mainstream path, but for some reason we decided to go more towards metal, and for that decision, I think we lost a lot of popularity with that album,
Huh.
which was strange because all of a sudden there weren't that many people coming to our shows in Scandinavia, but outside of Scandinavia there were more people coming to our shows than before. So that metalcore thing that we started with Death Theaters, it opened up, to be more popular outside of Scandinavia. But here
Yeah.
we kind of like, yeah, we lost a lot of popularity.
Yeah, which is interesting because Death Dealers, in my opinion, is probably my favorite Adept album. And it was actually the
All
album
right.
that got me into you guys because I remember it was many years ago. There was like a YouTube compilation of like best clean vocals in metalcore, and it was like the end of this could be home with that clean part at the end. I was like, wow. And since then, that's pretty much how I
Oh,
discovered
that's
you
nice, man.
guys.
Oh,
Guys,
that's
it's
cool. I
just by
mean,
a found accident.
that's a song that hasn't got that much attention. So that's cool that you mentioned that song, man. I like this. I like the ending of that one as well.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting. I thought like I was like the only American that knows about you guys, but I have like a friend in my state that knows about you guys. I was like, wow, guess I'm not
Yeah.
the
So
only
now
one.
two of you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's make a tour there. Huh?
Yeah. But then of course like working with Frederick Nordstrom on that album, what was that like? Like working with him because I think he's a great producer, worked with
Oh
all
yeah, yeah,
the Scandinavian bands.
yeah, man. It was a lot of fun recording that album. I remember we had like super high expectations just because he was such a well known name around here, and all the great bands that he produced and recorded. So we knew that we wanted to produce and record that type of album there because it was more metal than Another Year of Disaster. So we wanted to stop drinking beer in the woods and become a little bit more of a metal band, and he was the right guy for it. So I really thought that he had just, I think they just like recorded, I think it was Senpai Eternal by Bring Me the Horizon, or something like that. I don't remember when they released that album, but they just produced Bring Me the Horizon album before we came in there. So he gave us a little hint of that new album, and we are like, oh man, let's steal it before it's out there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And was it like working in Studio Fredman, believe because I feel like that studio I heard is legendary in Sweden. Like I keep telling like oh, I mentioned a couple of my interviews I do that there needs to be like a documentary about that place.
I know it's. I mean, when we recorded like I think we recorded 4 albums with Frederick or with his teammate Henrik. So I remember the first time we recorded there were actually like tourists coming to that studio, standing outside and travel for like I mean like by plane for 8 hours just to be there and take pictures of the studio, like real metalheads. They were like super touristic thing, but I mean that it just showed how important that studio has been.
Yeah, and then next album, Silence the World. I like that album. In my opinion, I feel like it's the underrated Adept album. Like not a lot of people talk about that one.
I mean, it was like it was a strange time as well because Jacob, I mean, was one of the original members. So me, Jacob, Jerry, and Gabriel, we were like the original four. Philip joined a little bit later. So when Jacob left, it was like a huge identity that left the band. So we almost had to start over because me and Jacob wrote, most of the albums. So now we brought in this new guy called Gustav, and it takes a while to get to know the dynamics within the band and to understand where we wanted to go. So Gustav wrote a lot of that songs on his own, and we went to his hometown because he doesn't live in Stockholm. So we traveled a bit to see him. So it was like a different type of writing process, and I think you can hear that on the album. I mean, it's a great album. I think one of my favorite songs are on that album. But I do understand that people feel like it's a little bit underrated also because it's you can hear that there's a change in the writing progress.
Yeah, another chef in the kitchen. That kind of
Another
like
chef, man.
changes
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Did he also like maybe bring something new to Adept that y'all didn't have previously?
Yeah, I think that he came from a place where he built more like atmospheric kind of vibes to it. We started to have a little bit more of those like synth kind of background thingies and make everything a little bit bigger at some parts. So and I can understand that you can hear that on the upcoming albums like Sleepless and Blood Covenant as well. Like there's room for more atmospheric sound to it, and
Yeah.
and that's what he brought to the table.
Yeah. And then talking about your last album, Sleepless, I thought that was a great album, one of my favorite albums from 2016. Like, tell me about like making that because I know y'all had like an adventure with that one.
Oh my god, yeah. We actually recorded that album twice.
Yeah.
It's like fixing a tooth, and then the guy says we need to fix it again. It's like I don't really want to do this. It was good the first time, but so we recorded it. We got into like the spickle with our former management. They sued us. They didn't win. They went into bankruptcy, and we bought our back catalog from that bankruptcy thingy. I don't know even how to how to explain the process, but so we own
Yeah.
all the albums that we ever released. We own them 100% now. So that's great. But yeah, because of that, we couldn't release how it was recorded with Studio Fredman. So we recorded it again in a different studio in Stockholm. So there's like two versions of Sleepless. One is, a little bit heavier, of course, with Fredman, and one is a little bit more atmospheric that we got from the studio in Stockholm.
Yeah. Do you think like the original version of Sleepless will ever see the light of day, or you just be like, yeah, we'll just have the second version that's still out?
I mean, we can't release it if we would release it. So I mean, we don't own it, so they will get
Oh.
us in much trouble. I would love if it could get leaked or something, but I'm sure they will find out it was us doing it. So
Yeah. But then it was also the first album on Napalm Records, your current label. So how did they find Adept?
oh, I don't know. I don't honestly know how they did. I mean, they're based in Austria, and we had a pretty good scene there in Austria, Switzerland, and Germany. So probably it came from there. They coming to our shows and seeing our live shows or listening to some music and yes, got interested. But I'm not quite sure how they actually got a hold of us.
All right. Then of course you started playing around around it, but then of course it was like you got some new members. You got Casper and Michael joining around that time. So how did they join the band?
So yeah, in 2016, so Gabriel and Jerry decided to leave the band because we were the party band, and after 10 plus years of a party band, it takes its toll. So they wanted to pursue other like careers and be more with family, because at this time around there were like people getting married, having children. So it's not that easy to be in a band that doesn't make that much money. You need to tour to have a living out of it. So they decided to leave. I knew Michael from before. He played in a really good Swedish band called the Lack Armea. They sounded a little bit like the Bled. Love that band.
Yeah.
So, and
Now
I
killing it
actually
with the
used.
Crown.
What was that?
Yeah, he's now currently killing it with the Crown, another
Oh
great
yeah,
Swedish
he
band.
is. Yeah, definitely. He's also playing drums for Imminence, another Swedish
Oh,
band.
I
So,
love that band too. Want to
oh
have them
man,
on my
that's
show
nice.
eventually.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, so I used to live with Michael in Stockholm. I think we shared an apartment for like 3 years or something. I mean, before I played in Adept and everything. So we've known each other very, very long time. And I know that he's a very talented drummer. But I mean, he was in the band for like a year. But then we drifted away because I mean he wanted to do his stuff. He's a little bit more technical drummer, a little bit more like blast beat kind of, so he wanted to pursue more like musical adventures with that kind of sound. And also at that point Gabriel showed interest in being back in the band as well, so that was very good for us. Casper, I yes heard that he was a very talented guitarist. Didn't meet him before he joined the band, so that was like we wanted to meet him and see if we had the same idea of how we wanted to play music, how we wanted to tour, what his values were. We will fit, could we be friends? That's the most important thing. But yeah, he's a very welcomed member of the band.
Nice. Then you started touring for eventually, and then of course the band sort of went on hiatus. I was always curious, like, what was the reason why there was like a long gap between Sleepless and of course the upcoming album? I know it, COVID had something to also do with
Yeah,
that too.
yeah. So I mean, there were like two chapters of that drifting away. So the first one was, of course, when Gabriel and Jerry left. For me personally, I mean, they were like my best friends, and they left, the band, and it didn't feel like it wasn't as fun to play music again. So we did the entire 2016 with the boys. We released an album. We toured immensely. 2017 and 18 we barely toured because I didn't really want to. I didn't feel like I enjoyed it with them not being there in the band. So Gabriel joined there and in the end of 18. So we decided that like let's continue touring. So we did a full 2019, went into 2020, and then COVID came. So it was like both the pandemic and both that those guys left the band. So that's why it took so long. And the pandemic, when it happened, it was like kind of kind of nice not to play music because it's been such a big part of your life, and it's been like you've been almost identified by it. So it was nice to be identified by something else in your life, and not to be touring, being drunk, being hangover, being stressed out about everything. How many tickets have we sold? Will we sell them enough merch to pay the rent? So it felt kind of nice. But I mean, after a couple of years, I think it was 2023 when we did our first rehearsal again, and it was like, dude, what are we doing? We love this. Let's do it again. Doesn't matter if we
Yeah.
sell merch. Let's just do it for the fun of it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we got Blood Covenant, the new Adept album coming out on the 24th through Napalm Records.
Yeah,
So
man.
how was the whole writing and recording process like for it?
I was quick. So as I said, in 2023, we saw each other for the first time, and we discussed just should we do like a 2024 show to make like a 20-year anniversary show. And when we were in that rehearsal, Gustav had brought some riffs with him, and I showed him some lyrics I did, and Gabriel had some ideas of some drum fills, and so everyone had in secret kind of already written at least parts of songs. So when we started to rehearse, we started rehearsing new parts of songs and we build them into songs. And I think we wrote that album in like a couple of months actually.
Yeah.
So
And
it was very quickly.
yeah, and musically, did you want to follow up like what Sleepless did, or being that there was like almost a 10-year gap between the two? Do you want it was also like a new beginning for Adept in a way?
It was actually. I mean, it's a new beginning, but it felt like we found something in Sleepless that we were all very proud of in the music writing and in the atmospheric parts of those songs. So I think we wanted to develop Sleepless with this, new approach. So I think it's like a continuation of Sleepless.
Yeah, it was
Um,
so it's almost kind of like a part two in a way.
yeah, yeah. It's when you listen to it, if you listen to them the first Sleepless and then you listen to Blood Comet, you can definitely hear like the similarities. And we try, of course, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We sound like we sound. But it's funny how the response was when we released Heaven, the first single from that album. People are like, "Oh, this is they're bringing back the old metalcore," and we're like, "Old? Fucking hell! Isn't this modern?" We thought we were like super modern, but we were not. We were old school, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And what would you say like the overall message and theme is for Blood Covenant?
I think I mean there's always like we always tend to touch the subject about time, about getting older, about I mean looking back at yourself when you were younger. It's about is it like Blood Covenant? The title for me, it's about the pact that we did when we were young. I mean, we 21 years ago, we were best friends. We're gonna take over the world. Let's never stop being friends. But we did. We didn't see each other for so many years. We stopped writing music for almost 10 years. So Blood Covenant is like the blood pact, the blood brothers that we said that we were supposed to be. So that's why the album cover is it's a circle, but it isn't a full circle, and there's a person in there who is drifting away, but it hasn't completely been drifted away. So it's a little bit like it's not completely done for us yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, like I'm loving like the first singles that you put out being You and Heaven and Ignore the Sun. Like, is that like a good representation of what Blood Covenant will be, or is there just like more to be discovered with the new album?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think I think I think we focus more on the contrast this time. So we have more mainstream song that we ever written, which is You, and then we have on the other side more of the heaviest songs that we ever written. So there's a little bit more of contrast on this album than they were on Sleepless. So we have a couple of really heavy ones, and then we have the little bit more mainstream songs like Heaven and You. So yeah, I think there's more to listen to. I think if you want more of the heavier ones, then we have a song called Filthy Tongue that is
Even
probably
the
going to be
title
real.
alone sounds heavy.
Ah, yeah, 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 definitely, and it's gonna be one of those songs that I'm gonna love to play live, man.
Yeah. And then talking about like the lyrics, because I feel like starting out like you were all like partying, but I feel like you kind of like more matured a lot over the years. But like when it comes to like the lyrical like process, like do you have to like put yourself in like a certain mind frame in order to come up with lyrics, or it just comes like very naturally and organically?
I mean, for me, it comes very organically. I've always been like a sensitive kid, even growing up. Always loved to write, to express myself. Can't think with a logical mind. I always tend to think with emotions, which is kind of kind of difficult to be a grown up with those kind of thoughts. But I mean, everything is very theatrical for me, and I love to express myself. So, and that is why we use a lot of those kind of spoken word parts, because when you write lyrics for like a verse or a chorus, it is very like you need to have it in a certain pattern to fit the melody, to fit the rhythm. What on a spoken part, you have like a minute where you can say whatever you want to say with just some kind of guitar thingy in the background. So I mean, for me, being in Adept has been like the perfect platform for me to express myself. And I think I say it in the last song, The Rapture of Dust. I say, if this is the last song that I ever sing, I need you to know that this was my therapy, because it truly was like an outlet for me to be able to grow up, I guess.
Yeah. And then, of course, the final question I want to ask you is coming from Sweden, like Sweden is like a home of a lot of great bands. Like you have like the Gothenburg scene with like At the Gates, Dark Tranquillity. Tranquility,
yeah.
and then of course like other great bands like of course like Dead by April, and even like other bands like from that country like Imminence, even like black metal bands from like Stockholm like Dark Funeral, and even like meller bands like Opeth. I feel like Sweden has like a very diverse scene. I mean, it's like very different from one another. So did you feel like you were comfortable with part of that scene, or was it for the goal for Adept to like get out of Sweden and play in front of like different audiences and stuff?
No, we will be more than happy if it would just have been, stayed in Sweden. I don't think we have ever like said any like we had any goals. We were like, yes, we wanted to play music because we were from this boring hometown. I mean, we needed to do something else than just work in the only factory that is located in that city. So I mean, we were super excited when we got to play opener for Race Fist. I mean, we get signed by one of the biggest Swedish um, Panic in Action. They were huge here. So I mean, and all those great bands that come from here, it would just be nice to be a part of that. Didn't have to be, supporting other, European bands or stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, but thank you, Robert, for this conversation. It's so great to have you on here. Of course, we have the new album coming out on the 24th. There's just anything else with the band that you would also like to plug in terms of like tours and stuff. And fingers crossed that you guys finally make it over to the States because we're waiting for you.
Oh man, spread the word though. I mean, we're not well known in the States, so spread the words. We will be there, get the visas, and play instantly.
Yeah, if not, I'll come to Sweden to see you
Yeah,
play.
you do it, man.
I have a passport. I'm all set.
Great, man. Bring your other friend who listens to our band, man. Then we
I
get two.
will. Awesome. It's
Awesome,
awesome.
man.
But thanks, Robert. It's just any final words you want to say to the viewers that are watching us to close us out?
Check out the album. Give us a chance if you haven't heard about us before. We've been around for 2 decades. It is time for you to give us a little bit of a chance, man.
Awesome. So everybody, Robert from Adept, and we'll see you next time.